This video is brought to you by Pixite. Creative apps from Pixite are an integral part of my workflow, from documenting in Zinnia, logo design and assembly, to colouring in Pigment. Try a creative mobile app today that's contextual to your unique creative process.
Okay, so we're back and continuing on. So far, just for a quick recap, we've done the skin and the eyes and the lips. Now I'm going to be moving on to the hair. So for the hair, I am going to do brown. I'm going to do more of a light brown. I'm not going to do super dark. That's not what I want to do. So I'm going to test out a few browns here and see what I want my base to be. That's definitely too dark. Still a bit too dark. Still a bit too dark. Actually, I think that's right about what I'm going for. So when I'm coloring in the hair, I do the same thing as I block it in. When it gets lighter towards like edges like this, I tend just to press light and bring my brush size down. That way I don't look like I'm having, you know, a natural hair kind of look. So I just bring the brush size down and then do kind of tapered strokes to fill in the color for the thinner hair. You can do that everywhere. You gotta adjust your brush size depending on where you're filling and what you're coloring. As you can see, the sparser it gets, I adjust my brush size to be quite smaller. And then when it's thick, it's a lot easier because I can just easily fill, right? Just coloring it in. You just want to watch those certain areas though. Otherwise, it'll just all look blocked in and it won't look very natural. You know what? I wonder if I'm just thinking here. What if I did gray? I think I like the gray more. I'm sorry to change this on you, but it's just I'm coloring this hair and I just find it just doesn't look natural. Oh, I'm gonna have to probably go over it all again. I'll go back as much as I can and then I'll have to, yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to go over it again. That's okay. So I'm gonna color match this gray. I'm gonna go until I kind of get a nice light gray like that. It's almost like a silvery blue. And I'm going to do my hair this color. I just really think it's gonna look the most natural with this grayscale is to stick with a shade of the original color, if that makes sense. And I'm liking it already. I already find it looks natural and blends in quite well. And I don't have to be as careful when I'm coloring because it's not so much of a difference. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna go over, and it shows the individual hair strands really nicely as well. So again, that's half the battle when you're coloring grayscale, is really figuring out what's gonna work. And it took me to color this little area over here to realize that, you know what? If I just color a very similar color that her hair already is, but deepen it up, make it more saturated, it's gonna look natural. Look, it's doing all the work for me. It's giving the highlights, it's giving the shading. It's really making this work very nicely. And then when it comes to down here and her hair down here, it almost looks like shadows. So I don't have to color over it and put all that work in to make it look like unnatural. And that's one of the things that bothers me when it comes to grayscales. I really like it to look natural. So if it doesn't, then I'm always trying to come up with some kind of solution on how to make it look natural. Anyway, I'm pleased with this. I'm glad that I tried it. I'm just gonna back up the trolley a bit here. I just wanna be a little bit gentle coming down this way. You don't have to get into it too much down here. That's the whole reason I picked doing this hair color, so I don't have to worry about it looking. I just want that color to come down into this area a little bit. But otherwise, the natural shading and everything that comes with this gray, it's almost like a blacky gray blue, whatever you want to call it. It's amazing. It looks great. So like I say, half the battle is picking your colors in grayscale. It's really going to give you a natural look in the end, and it's going to make life easier on you detail-wise as well. So just a couple of things to think about. And see how much easier I'm filling this in now with this color? Like, it's just looking good on its own. Don't get too sloppy with it though. Take your time. And get that nice color filled where it needs to be. My suggestion would be to fill in the thicker areas, and if it looks like there's strands in behind, if it looks all right, I would just leave them and not even color them. If it works and looks all right. You got to be the judge of that. But that's what I'm doing here. So I'm not coloring all those little strands. I'm coloring the areas that are super thick, and then I'm leaving the little strands as is. This almost is like a purple gray. It would be like a modern hair color nowadays to go and get this for your hair. By all means, it might look gray where you guys are sitting, but up close it looks almost purple. I'm not worried about coloring the dragon at all, because I'm gonna have to go over him anyway, so I'm not worried about it. Sometimes it really does take trying things to get ideas. So when I don't know, when I said, oh, I'm going to try a couple different browns and see what I like, because I wasn't sure about my hair color. I'm never sure, this might sound bad, but honestly, I'm never sure until I see it. So that's why it's really hard for me to make a plan when I color, because honest, I can't have a plan until I see it. I need to see what it looks like. And this gray, or purpley gray, whatever you want to call it, is just impeccable. It looks great. I really, really love it. And it looks very natural. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lighten up that gray a little bit. And I'm not going to color strands individually because all that work is done for us in here. So what I am going to do is enhance the areas where it looks like there should be a little bit lighter highlighting, and I'm just going to go over it and add that little bit of shine to it. Very gently, just adding in those highlights to make her hair look shiny. And that is all I'm doing here. This hair actually went a lot easier than I thought. I thought I was going to be sitting here forever doing the hair, and honestly, I love it just the way it is. And I am going to just keep it that way because, yeah, why mess with a good thing? So I'm just gonna add a couple highlights in, nothing crazy. Just a couple light highlights to show that her hair has some depth. And you can take that gray and you could even deepen it if you want and just shade some areas a little bit darker to add even just a little tiny bit more depth. I wouldn't go crazy with the shading though, because her hair looks really nice the way it is. But just a little bit of okay. That looks really nice so far. I can't really ask for much more than what I'm getting out of her. She looks really great so far. I'm pleased with it. And I always kind of just fix things as I go along. If I notice I want a little bit more red in the nose, a little bit more shading under the nose. It's all stuff I do as I go on too. Because as my picture starts to come together, I start to notice every little detail. And then, so I'm always like, even though I say, oh, I'm done with the skin, I'm done with this, whatever, I always end up going back to it because I'm never truly done until I'm done, till I've had enough with the detail. But yeah, that hair looks great. I can't really ask for more than that. Okay, so let's quit gushing over the hair and move on to her jacket. I'm gonna use like this reddy brown color, I think. Although that is a bit, let me see. Yeah, I think I like the lighter brown in this case. So I'm going to color in her jacket. And I'm just doing what I did with everything else. I'm putting my base color in, and then I'll go and add my details after I get my base color down. And in my experience, this is the best way to do grayscales. And I also do line art. Like I do anything I color, I always lay down a base color, and then I add details, highlights, shading upon that color after. So that's what I'm doing right now. Don't be afraid to zoom in to get those finer edges. All little details matter. I actually get told a lot from just people in general. Okay, come on now. From people in general that see my stuff, that very detailed, just because I am detail oriented. I love lots of detail. I think it really makes a picture come alive. I think it really makes a picture stand out and look realistic, and just all those good things that you want out of a picture. So I'm just filling this in for the bigger areas. I keep on hitting the eraser button, sorry guys. For the bigger areas, you can use a wider spread, but you still have to be careful. The airbrush has a very, very wide spread, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, I do use the wider spread when I have bigger areas to fill. It just is so much faster. Okay, so I do like that brown, but it does have a little bit of a ways to go before I really like it. It's just a flat brown right now. There's no detail to it. It just looks very kind of bleh. So we are going to add detail. I'm just going to use my airbrush. I'm going to use that darker brown that I thought was too dark, and I'm going to go in and add it to some of those darker areas. This is a very worn looking jacket, so I'm going to add my worn details in before I add my highlights. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going in, adding this darker brown sporadically in these shaded areas. And I think that's about all I want to add. Now, I think I'm going to use my pastel for this, but I might change my mind. I don't know if I like that color. I gotta figure out a color for the distressing. Yeah, I guess that works. Probably use like a gold or something too, I think. Not yet though. I like using pastel for these type of areas because it naturally blends and it also has texture. So when you're trying to already blend and add texture, it just seems like the natural choice. And you can already see it's starting to look distressed. We're going over all these kind of areas that we know it needs to be because it's lighter. You can always tell by examining what you're coloring, what is supposed to be lighter and what is supposed to be darker. The lighter parts will always be the lighter gray, and then obviously the darker will always be more shadowed, right? Pretty straightforward. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to the lighter areas of this jacket and I'm adding the distressing marks. I'm just filling in this entire area because it's all kind of looking distressed. I'm gonna do the same over here. And we can do layers upon layers too, so we don't have to just quit with this one color of distressing. We can go and grab either like a white and add that white to make it look even more distressed. But in this case, I really think, just trying here, hold on. That white does look good. distressed areas, I would put the white. Gonna add some gray in here too, I think. I just feel like this jacket needs gray. Need my airbrush for a second here. So I do like the brown, but I think that there needs to be this gray in here too, and the brown is like kind of what's distressed, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm leaving some of that brown in there, but I really like the mix of the gray in here. I think it's really making the picture look how I want it to look. Yeah, that's more like it. Now that this dressing looks like I find more natural than just flat brown. There was just something not quite there with it for me. Now I feel like it's more what I wanted. Yeah, it actually looks really good. It's coming along. It is coming along. So just gonna add a little bit of that white back that I might have taken away, not too much, because I like the way it kind of balanced out, but just a little bit in some areas, just for added highlight, that added kind of flair to the picture. Lots of time I would use pencil for this type of thing, but there's already so much texture there. I don't really need to add more because it's built into this picture. So I'm just using the airbrush and the pastel because they're really great blending tools. If this was a flat piece and I wanted to make it look more texturized, I would totally use the pencil. But in this case, it already has quite a bit of texture and character, so there's really no need. I can tell I've been coloring a long time because my iPad is getting hot. Also why I have it plugged in. Just gonna put a little bit more of this gray in this side. So that like rustic look with like the brown but like black, it really turned out good. That's what I wanted. Okay, now I got to color the lace work too, and I'm just wondering what color I should color that. That works. So this is a little bit of a tedious task, but sometimes this comes up in Grayscale, and I'm sure there's pieces in this book that are very detailed, and you gotta color in each of the pieces individually. I mean, I could have just left it, but what fun is that? And this is really gonna make it look put together, and it's just gonna give it that much more pop. So I'm gonna go around, I'm using the airbrush on low brush size. I can bring my opacity all the way up. And I'm just filling in the lace work here. Or the threading, whatever you would like to call it. Then I chose like a tannish brown. It makes a big difference, like, it just does. These laces here are just a tiny bit bigger than the smaller ones there. But the exciting thing is coming up. We're gonna color that cute little dragon that's sitting on her shoulder, so that should be fun. Well, first I'm gonna color her necklace, then I'll do the dragon. And I always zoom in when I do this type of work because it's just so much easier. Easier on the eyes, easier just to see what you're doing in general so you're not, you know, messing up your page. It's just, yeah. It's just easier. And look at that, just from filling in the lace work and taking a little bit of time to do that. And you could even go one step further. I mean, you could even go and add like highlights to a few laces, like just like using a lighter, like almost like a cream if you want to. I mean, it's amazing where you can put detail, but the littlest details do make a difference. And I gotta tell ya, she's looking good. I even kind of want to bring her, lip down a bit here. Little things we notice along the way. Now I want to do something kind of funky with this necklace. I want to use like a nice blue or something, because right now colors are very neutral, which is great. It looks very natural, it looks very beautiful, but I want to add just that little bit of extra something something. So let's peruse for a blue. I was thinking of this beautiful bright blue, but it might be too bright. Not sure. Maybe that with I can't say that I am overly thrilled with that, so let's move on. Let's try purple. No, it's gonna have to be somewhat of a natural color. Okay, so let's try a lighter blue maybe, or a little bit of a deeper undertone blue. Yeah, that's more of what I was going for. A pop of color, but it doesn't look too insane or out of place on the picture. So let's do this blue, I like it. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks nice. It obviously still needs a little bit of work here. So we're gonna lighten up that blue that we used. And we're gonna make some shininess to this necklace. darken it up a bit. I'm gonna add a little bit darker side to it too. Zoom in for these. I'm gonna actually maybe try the laser really quick here. I think the laser is just a bit much. Maybe just a tiny bit of the laser, like here. Too much of a good thing isn't always good, you know? Oh, erase button, I don't know. I guess I'm double tapping the screen. I keep on seeming to be doing that. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good too. Okay, I hope you guys are liking this so far. I hope you think she's turning out. And yeah, this is a lot of fun for me. And I hope it is for you too. I'm just gonna try something with the blue here. Just use the blue to make some highlights in her hair. I'll probably do that later, make some smaller ones too. Okay, so let's color our dragon. Now, there's gonna be quite a bit of detail to happen here. This might take a while in itself. Let's see. Okay, I want to make sure I don't put my finger across on anything that I've done. I don't want to make any marks like that, right? Because that is so hard to get off blended skin at this stage in the game. So let's go to our greens. I'm going to pick this color green here. I'm going to do him green because I want to do him green. I think he's going to look nice green, but what green? So we'll try this one. Zoom in a bit deeper. So I'm just going to fill in the entire dragon like this darker green, but he will not be staying this dark green. I have plans for him, but we're gonna start here. Remember that base color? I've done it this whole picture. I lay down a base color and then I work in my detail from there. And I'm so scared to draw on her face because I don't want to have to blend that out. So I gotta keep an eye on that. With my finger, I mean, when I zoom in and out, it's like drag it across, right? And then I end up with a mark. So he's gonna be all green, but he ain't gonna stay that way. It's just so much easier laying down a color and then working with it after. It's just so much easier than coloring like individual parts and everything. Cute little dragon anyway. Just coloring him in all one color takes a while to get that down. And you want to be extra careful at this stage in the game too, because the rest of our picture is pretty much done minus some minor details. So we want to be extra careful and take our time here. Because that's about almost going on 2 hours of coloring. So you can see that grayscales do take some time, but totally worth it. Okay. Whew. Little dragon guy is filled in. Now comes the fun part, the details. The details, the details, the details. So we're gonna use all these greens. And we're gonna use our airbrush because this guy already has a lot of texture. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna add these highlights and these colors to this cute little guy and bring him to life. I might have to outsource. I like these greens, but they just don't have all the kinds of greens that I want. And I really like this green from the pastel. We want to lighten up this wing. You can tell that it's supposed to be light down here. I did fill it all in with color, but that was just to do my base color. But I knew that down here was definitely going to be lighter. You can tell just by the way the color changes in the grayscale. So I'm just working in different lighter greens in these wings here, and I'm blending, and I'm trying to get the look that I want to go for by having these light-ended wings, but mixed. I don't want them to look like they're just all light. I want it to look like it's blended and I'm gonna need kind of like a yellowish color too, just a little bit. And go back down here. I feel like we need some more yellow. I don't know if that's the right yellow though. I need like a I'm just using the airbrush and blending these colors. That's all I'm doing. I'm just taking my time and blending these colors to get a realistic effect, or try to get a realistic effect for this dragon. And I'm using yellow, and I'm using different greens. I'm using bright green. I laid down initially a darker green because I find it always helps with shadowing in the end, so you don't have to lay down your shadow so deep. And then you have some guide for where your highlights are and where your darkest greens are, and you know that you can go there and add darker highlights if you want to. It's not necessary, but it does, I find it does help overall in the end. And I'm using this mixture of green and yellows to achieve kind of a luminous effect for this dragon. Not luminous like glowing, but just very iridescent, shiny look. Shiny scales kind of look, right? I'm going to lighten up his belly a little bit here. I feel like it's a bit darker than it needs to be. It could actually have some yellow incorporated on it for sure. Lighten up that belly a bit. Could even do some bit of white here. Still trying to get those wings right. So I'm just trying to get this blend on the wings here where it looks very whimsical, like almost like ombre wings, like it goes lighter. I think I might have a sneeze coming on. If I sneeze, excuse me. And behind here, it almost looks white in this little crack. I think it should be. I think that's what it should be. And then for the yellow, baby horns. It's a little, maybe I'll do this yellow. And I'm just finishing all these little details. So there's definitely claws. These are very small details that need to be colored. I'm just going to use like a cream. There's one here. There's one here. Just gonna go and add a little bit of, he has some teeth here. I just wanna, these are easy details to forget about, so I just wanna get them now. Very small, tiny details. See, I did draw on the skin. Dang. At least it's in a small area. Okay. Try not to do that again. Now, let's finish our details. We have to color all his claws and all his wingtip claws things, whatever you want to call them. I'm finding that white is just a bit too bright. I think it needs to be toned down a little bit. It's just a little bit too bright for my liking. Oops, too big. Just standing out so much. So I'm using a yellowish type cream instead. It's still going to stand out, but I just found the white was too abrupt. Okay, I just need to adjust here and stretch a bit. Hunched over coloring. I'm not stopping now though. We're almost there. And I just want to say that little details really matter, guys. Like, they really do. I know that a lot of people don't think that it makes a difference, but when you like an artist's work or you follow an artist and you think that they're amazing or they have nice colorings or whatever you think, if you look at their stuff, they probably have a lot of detail in their artwork. And it just comes down to thinking about that and applying it. So I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit, that yellow, a little bit brown. I don't want lots of it, but I'm just going to go through and get a little bit of that shading on the tips, or like where they're kind of coming into the hand, just because I find they still look a little bright, just to give it a little bit of I am really digging the way that this turned out. This was so much fun, and it really did turn out beautifully. Okay, so I just want to look over my dragon here, see if I can do anything else. I'm gonna grab my pastel. I'm just gonna add a couple more brighter type highlights on the skin, just to make him shine a little bit. Maybe not that much. almost forgot a claw. There's one right there. Very important to look over your work and notice things, especially when you've been coloring for a long time, because lots of times you're coloring and then all of a sudden you just forget because, you know, you're in a trance sometimes. At least I get in a trance, especially when I'm coloring for a long time. I get focused on one area and then I don't notice little things. And it drives me nuts when I have to, when I spent so much time coloring something and then I have to go back and fix, or you publish it and then you notice it after and you're like, dang. That could just be the perfectionist in me too. So I'm just gonna do one more thing. I just got one more thing I want to try. Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I was going to go to the neon palette and grab a yellow, but this one seems like it will work too. Rather than mess with it too much, I think I'll leave it, but I do want to try one more thing. Maybe I'll use this blue too. Just adding like shine with the blue. And then adding in a tiny bit of white, or whitish blue, I guess you could say. Just for a little added shine and highlight in the hair. Again, details, people. Little details. And I always look over my picture when I'm done and I always kind of ask myself what I can add, what should I change? Because at the end is the funnest part. The drawing is like the coloring's done, right? Like the main part of the coloring's done. So then it's just going around and fine-tuning it, and I find it really fun to do those little last minute details. Okay, that's freaky. I didn't even touch the screen and it said erase. I wasn't even touching the screen. Okay. We'll figure out why that happened later and just continue on. Just gonna add in a little bit more white on the lips for that little bit of added shine. You even could add a little bit more just even here. I'm looking at her face and seeing if I need to do anything to her face. think it's mostly the hair that I'm gonna touch up just to give some extra highlights. I like it when the hair stands out and shines. I think that blue adds a nice little touch. Maybe use the blue down here. No, I don't like it near the tips, just at the top is a nice touch. Okay, now just gonna grab my pastel and this. I'm just gonna try something here. I want to see if I can just add a little bit more lighter green kind of in here. And honestly, guys, it's hard for me to walk away from this right now because I just want to analyze and try a million different things. Just adding some freckles. It's really hard for me to walk away from pieces like this because I always, and I'm using, I'm using the pastel brush for the freckles because it makes them nice and light and natural looking. If you use, like let's say the technical pen, I find that it's just a little bit harsh. And then you can add different colors and sizes. Yeah, and back to what I was saying there, it's hard for me to walk away from pieces like this because I just always feel like I want to do stuff to them. But I'm going to walk away so that we can get this done in a reasonable amount of time. And if I need to tweak anything on it, I'll tweak on it and I'll post it in the gallery when the book releases for everyone to see. And okay. Just want to make sure my nose is okay before I sign off. Okay, everything's fine. I'm stepping away now. Okay guys, this is Brianne from Pixite. Thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments about something you'd like to see in the future, please list it below. And again, thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.